Hey, I'm Laura Davis, a time management strategist, and I help working moms ditch the hot mess and level up their work life balance using a proven time management framework. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the four pillars that every working mom needs to know in order to manage their time really well. So let's dig into this episode. And actually, before we dig in, I want to tell you kind of a story a little bit. I got back from a really intense work trip last week, and I want to just tell you about how I kind of messed up my own schedule. So I had to travel out to Las Vegas for work, and I was out there from a Saturday to a Wednesday. And this was a really intense work trip. I had to be on my feet working at a conference with 13,000 people all of those days. And I was kind of, before I left, I was kind of like looking at my schedule for whenever I get back because, life doesn't stop just because you have a work trip. And I overcommitted myself. And I feel like it would have been okay had my plane not been delayed coming back, but I didn't take that into account. And so on my way back, my plane left Las Vegas at 3 p.m. that time, Pacific time, which was 6 p.m. Eastern time. I also should mention that I tried really hard to stay on Eastern time during my trip, which I feel like I was pretty successful at. But anyways, I left at 3 p.m. There was a medical event that happened on that flight, so we ended up being an hour and a half delayed taking off. I flew into Atlanta and was supposed to get in around 10 p.m. Instead, got in around 11:30, and then actually my connection flight, which was supposed to take off at 11, that flight also was delayed, and that flight got delayed 3 times. All to say, I finally got home about 3 a.m. Eastern time. And I didn't account for that. I accounted for getting home at midnight. And I think everything would have been okay had I done that, but I should have known better. I should have given myself more wiggle room because Thursday, after I got back, I had very little sleep, maybe 4 hours of sleep. Got up to see Harper and take her to school because she had not seen me in 5 days. I also had a makeup horseback riding lesson that morning at 11. And then I had a call with Amanda for our retreat that we're doing in a couple of weeks at the time of this recording. And then also had trick or treating that night because it was Halloween. And then on Friday, I decided before I left, the Laura before I went on this trip was more ambitious than the Laura when I got back on this trip. And I decided that Friday to also volunteer the whole day at Harper's school for their big fundraiser field day activity thing that they were doing. And I was assigned the mud obstacle. So I had to keep this literal pile of mud soaking wet for all of these adorable elementary school kids. And it was so fun. It was so much fun. And I'm so glad that I did it because Harper was absolutely adorable. And she was so happy that I was there the whole day. And I got to check her out early. And then her and I had a mommy-daughter day. But I just share all of that because I was also overly ambitious. And this is something that I talk with my clients about a lot, of giving yourself time to recoup and recover after a big work trip. And I didn't give myself enough of that recoup time, enough of that recovery time, and I should have. But I also didn't want to miss out on these opportunities. And so, eventually I did get the amount of sleep that I needed on Saturday night. I actually got a 93 on my Aura Ring score, which if you have an Aura Ring, you know that that's a really good score. So I was happy with that. And I feel really good and I feel recovered now. And so I share that kind of for a couple of reasons. One, because just know that I'm not perfect, even though I teach time management and I help other women learn time management. I by no means am perfect. And also, number two, it's okay to push yourself a little bit if there are rare opportunities that you want to experience. And so that fundraiser that I volunteered for at Harper's school, that only happens once a year. So if I didn't do that on Friday, if I didn't push myself to do that when I really, really wanted to, then I would have missed out on that. Now, notice that I said I really wanted to, not that I felt I should. And I think that's a big difference, is that if you're telling yourself that you should be doing these things, but you don't necessarily want to, that's a completely different story. These were all things that I wanted to do. And so I did push myself a little bit harder because I wanted to do these things. Just wanted to share that story. If you travel a lot for work, hopefully that resonates with you. Now, today's episode, we're going to be talking about this 4-pillar framework. This is the framework that is the foundation for Time Management Academy. And I want to explain a little bit more as to why, because this framework is something that every single working mom needs to know. Now, I had a client last year, Sarah, who gave me a really good analogy for how she was feeling. She felt like she was juggling all of these bowling pins. And that as soon as she felt like she was juggling these bowling pins really, really well, like she kind of got in a groove and got the hang of it, somebody would just toss 3 more bowling pins in. And she was like, this is how I feel about life. I feel like I just can't get a grip or get into a groove or get ahead of all of life's demands. And so her and I worked together. She went through this framework inside Time Management Academy. And like I said, before she went through this framework, she was really feeling like she had to get up early to work on her business. She was a health and fitness coach, and she also worked full-time in corporate America in IT. And she felt like she had to get up super early to work on her business. She had to rush through her job every day. She wasn't very present in it. She didn't feel like she was doing a great job. She had to squeeze in family time after work. And then eventually she would just fall into bed and collapse because she was so exhausted, even though she felt like she wasn't really getting a whole lot done. Now, this 4-pillar framework, you've heard me talk about these 4 pillars, right? They're the principles of time management, the skills of time management, the mindset of time management, and then your capacity awareness. But I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into each one. So the principles of time management are things that do not change. These are like your foundations of how to effectively manage your time as a working mom. A really good example is structure creates flexibility. This is a foundational principle of managing your time. When you create structure in your time, you're actually going to allow yourself to have more flexibility, which is one of the very first things that we work on inside of Time Management Academy. So Sarah finally was able to have clarity on exactly what was working for her for managing her life and her busy schedule once she adopted these time management principles. And there's about half a dozen of them that we go over. And then with skills for time management, this includes things like how to plan effectively, how to prioritize. So you do learn an actual step-by-step kind of equation on how to prioritize things. And then also how to systematically approach your calendar. So I do have a digital first philosophy for your calendar. So whether that be Google Calendar or iCal, either one is fine, but that is the foundation of the methodology that I teach and the framework that I have found is most successful for working moms. And another skill is around goal setting and goal planning, and then actually accomplishing those goals. So all of those things combine into a skill set that you get to walk away with after going through Time Management Academy. The third pillar, which I would argue might be the most important and probably the one that I work with the most on clients, is the mindset of managing your time. And so for Sarah, the same client from last year that we're talking about, for Sarah, shifting her thinking around her time was huge for her because she went from thinking, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. I'm so busy. There's no way I'm going to be able to get all of this done. I feel so overwhelmed. To, yes, I have a lot to do today, but I have a game plan to get it done. Yes, I'm really busy this week, but I am more than capable of handling that. And so she's not gaslighting herself into thinking that she isn't busy or that she, has all of this free time, but she is looking at her calendar and her time and her commitments in a more positive way that is more empowering for herself. And that's what I really like to teach my clients to do, is to empower themselves and to use empowering language, not defeating language. And then the 4th pillar is capacity awareness. And this is one where I think a lot of clients have the most aha moments, especially Sarah from the same example, is by understanding the actual amount of time that you have in a week and in a month to work on things, and then looking at the things that you've committed to and how much time you think those things are going to take, being able to say, oh, I'm over capacity this month. What can I rearrange or take off my plate? Or, oh, I'm actually under capacity this month. Maybe I can spend more time at my child's school. Maybe I can take on a stretch project in my corporate job. Maybe I can handle an extra one-on-one client this month for my business. Whatever it may be, the capacity awareness gives you a really good view of what you can handle given the amount of hours that you have in that month. And I have not announced this, so you're getting a little sneak peek if you're listening to this. I've created a formula. I haven't decided what I'm going to call it, but it is an actual mathematical equation that you'll input all of your commitments and it will output whether or not you are below, at, or above capacity. And then we can work through together on recommendations for how to rearrange things. And I'm really excited to launch this. It's going to come out in December. Well, really, it'll come out in January, but I'm going to start sharing more about it in December. But I'm super excited about this. So again, those are the 4 pillars of managing your time. So to recap, we have the principles of time management. These are things that do not change. These are foundations. Then we have the skills of time management. These are like the day-to-day actions and skill sets that you need to have in order to manage your time really, really well as a working mom. And then we have the mindset pillar, which this is how you think about your time and how you talk to yourself about your time. And then we have capacity awareness, which is looking at a holistic picture of everything that you have going on and evaluating whether or not you are under, at, or above capacity, and then being able to adjust things accordingly. So again, going back to that same client, Sarah, one of my favorite things is that after she went through these 4 pillars inside Time Management Academy, she was able to feel calm and grounded. And those were her words that she used, which I love those words, because if you can feel calm and grounded about your time and your schedule, everything else kind of falls into place. She wasn't necessarily looking to be super productive and get even more done. She just wanted to feel really peaceful about the things that she was doing. And we were able to accomplish that together, which I'm really proud of. She did a fantastic job going through Time Management Academy, because TMA gives you all of the tools. It gives you everything that you need to be successful, but you are the one who still does the work to be successful. And Sarah did that work, and she did it phenomenally. So I'm super proud of her. I really hope that these 4 pillars helped you. I hope that this episode was helpful for you. And I look forward to talking to you. If you want to reach out to me on Instagram, if you have any questions, my Instagram handle is its.laura.davis. I will also say that your perfect next step is to join my free Master Your Workweek challenge. You can sign up at thelauraddavis.com/workweek. This is a free 5-day challenge. In less than 15 minutes a day, we are going to break down how to effectively use your to-do list so that you're actually getting things done throughout the work week. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will see you in the next episode.